Minimize that.
Is my mic active? Yeah. Morning, everyone. We're just starting. There's going to be some people filtering in, so we're just going to give a few minutes for last-minute arrivals and take care of some feedback issues. I can't see who's joined us on Zoom, so I'll just say hi generally to everyone.
Hi, Christopher.
Hi.
Hi, Marianne. It's Sandra.
I'm here. Hello. Are we on the screen?
I think we're on screen.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to mute all the microphones out there and leave you in the capable hands of Christopher and Marianne.
The hands.
Well, good morning, everyone. As I think there's still at least one camera's not muted. As many of you know already, Stephen's on vacation. He's on well-deserved vacation for a few weekends. And a few of us in the congregation have been honored to help lead services while he charges his mental and spiritual batteries. I believe there's a announcement from him that he recorded yesterday that he says that he will be canoeing this morning. So even as he streams to us, he will be canoeing. So I think that's kind of fun. We led worship in summer in 2020. It sounds like a long time ago. And this won't be our first time doing a virtual service. This is one of the first times we'll personally be using pre-recorded music. And also one of the first times we'll be using an announcement that's coming from Stephen. So there may be a little brief lull while Alex brings up that video, but hopefully that won't be too long. And I hope you'll be patient with any little bumps we run into along the way. The hymns today are all from Voices United, so you don't have to get out more voices. The first hymn is Voices United number 166, Joy Comes with the Dawn. The second is Voices United number 509, I, the Lord of Sea and Sky. The third is Voices United number 352, I Dance in the Morning. And the fourth is, and final hymn, is Voices United 595, We Are Pilgrims. The two readings, for those of you who may be reading along in the good book, Psalm 30 and Galatians 6, chapters 1 through 16, or verses 1 through 16.
I want to tell you all that I don't think there's any blood on the paper, but I can tell Christopher's been sweating over his work because we've got big streaks across the printer.
Oh, no. It's just the printer.
I'm just saying he's been working hard. Good man.
We'd like to invite you now to move from a time of fellowship into a time of worship. I'll be lighting a candle as a symbol of God's presence, and invite those of you who feel comfortable in doing so to do the same. Once we've lit our candles, I'd like to invite you to take a few moments of silence to prepare our minds and our spirits to welcome God. Okay? Join.
It takes two. I'm going to step aside. Christopher and I have taken turns in the past where one of us does the sermon and the other leads most of the service. So that's the plan. I'm going to sit back and enjoy listening to my husband for a while.
So let all faithful people give thanks and praise God's holy name. Weeping lingers for a night, but joy comes with the morning. Let's come together now in the family that we make together with God and with each other. Let's worship God. We're going to come together now in the reading of our opening prayer, which is found on the screen. Just make sure that some people get seated. Had some people come in. Wonderful.
We are very, very glad you're here. We're glad for everyone online too, but it's nice to see faces as well.
We thought that maybe on a weekend we would, especially holiday weekend, we might not have anything, so it's good to see people. Creator God, on this glorious summer morning, we hear your call today. Even when we struggle to reconcile the beauty of what we see around us with thoughts of the things in our lives which cast a shadow on our day, we know that you are there. When we feel that we cannot bear the burdens that life lays upon us, and our path is uncertain, or seemingly all too certain, we are not alone. You call us together to experience a sense of belonging and love, and to remember that even when our hearts are touched with sadness, we are assured that our hearts will be lifted. Amen. Our first hymn is from Voices United, number 166, Joy Comes with the Dawn. You just click inside this line. There's a window up on the
Joy comes with the dawn, joy comes with the morning sun, joy springs from the tomb and scatters the night with her song. Joy comes with the dawn. Weeping may come, weeping may come in the night when dark shadows cloud our sight. Joy comes with the dawn, joy comes with the morning sun, joy springs from the tomb and scatters the night with her song. Joy comes with the dawn. Sorrow will turn into song, and God's laughter make us strong. Joy comes with the dawn, joy comes with the morning sun, joy comes from the tomb and scatters the night with her song. Joy comes with the dawn. We will rejoice, we will rejoice and give praise to the one who brings us grace. Joy comes with the dawn, joy comes with the morning sun, joy comes from the tomb and scatters the night with her song. Joy comes with the dawn.
Can people hear me? Can you unmute people, see if I don't know if the microphone for the thing is on.
Yeah, your mic's on.
Okay. So blue means on.
Somebody doing the reading from remote or?
No, I'll do it here.
Okay.
Did you want to read one of them?
Didn't get that far.
Sure.
But you're most welcome.
Alex, could you possibly move this out of the way, this part? No, this window here, it's kind of blocking some of the text.
Oh, yeah.
Psalm 30. Sure.
Okay.
We thought we'd have more time to organize this, but some of the technical aspects got in the way. Okay, go ahead.
It's in my sermon notes, so just.
Don't be frightened by the length of the notes. These are all the readings. Okay. So Psalm 30. I will exalt you, Lord, for you lifted me out of the depths and did not let my enemies gloat over me. Lord my God, I called to you for help, and you healed me. You, Lord, brought me up from the realm of the dead. You spared me from going down to the pit. Sing the praises of the Lord, you his faithful people. Praise his holy name. For his anger lasts only a moment, but his favor lasts a lifetime. Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning. When I felt secure, I said, I will never be shaken. Lord, when you favored me, you made my royal mountain stand firm, but when you hid your face, I was dismayed. To you, Lord, I called, to the Lord I cried for mercy. What is gained if I am silenced, if I go down to the pit? Will the dust praise you? Will it proclaim your faithfulness? Hear, Lord, and be merciful to me, Lord, be my help. You turned my wailing into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy, that my heart may sing your praises and not be silent. Lord, my God, I will praise you forever.
Our second hymn, our next hymn, is from Voices United number 509, I, the Lord of Sea and Sky.
I, the Lord of sea and sky, I have heard my people cry, all who dwell in darkness sin, my hand will save. I will make the stars of night, I will make their darkness bright, for will give my light to them. Who shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I, the Lord of snow and rain, I have borne my people's pain. I have wept for love of them. They turn away. I will break their hearts of stone, give them hearts to love my own. I will speak my word to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I, the Lord of wind and flame, I will tend the poor and lame. I will set a feast for them. My hand will save. Finest bread I will provide, till their hearts be satisfied. I will give my life to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, if you leave me,
I will hold your finger in my
heart.
Our second reading today is from Galatians chapter 6, verses 1 through 16. It's a fairly long reading, but we'll try to get through it together. Brothers and sisters, if someone is caught in a sin, you who live by the Spirit should restore that person gently. But watch yourselves, or you may also be tempted. Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. If anyone thinks they are something when they are not, they deceive themselves. Each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone without comparing themselves to someone else, for each one should carry their own load. Nevertheless, the one who receives instructions in the word should share all good things with their instructor. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Whoever sows to please their flesh from the flesh will reap destruction. Whoever sows to please the Spirit from the Spirit will reap eternal life. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all people, especially to those who belong to the family of believers. See what large letters I use as I write to you with my own hand. Those who want to impress people by means of the flesh are trying to compel you to be circumcised. The only reason they do this is to avoid being persecuted for the cross of Christ. Not even those who are circumcised keep the law, yet they want you to be circumcised, that they may boast about your circumcision in the flesh. May I never boast except in the, can't see that word, of our Lord Jesus Christ, through which the word has been crucified to me and I to the world. Neither circumcision nor uncircumcision means anything. What counts is the new creation. Peace and mercy to all who follow this rule, to the Israel of God. So I'm very pleased to invite my wife, Marianne, to give her reflections on today's readings. One of the many, many things I love about Marianne is her ability to speak from the heart about both things that are very sad or difficult, but also to speak to the joy and beauty about those very same things. And to remind us that sadness and joy are two sides of the same coin.
Thank you. That was very sweet. He's a good guy. I'm biased. Okay. So I don't write out my sermons. What I have here is all the readings and just a little handful of notes. So I'm going to have to shuffle a little to refer here and there. I gotta tell you, the readings for today were a little weird. Christopher and I, you know, we've done a few services in the past, and the readings usually tended to line up with something we wanted to talk about. I had to search a little bit. And then I saw the trend and it was fine, but I had to search because they were odd. We choose from a selection of readings. Okay, we don't read all of the ones that are available in the lectionary. So one of the ones we didn't do, the first one on the list in the lectionary from 2 Kings, 2 Kings. The very first paragraph talks about a wonderful soldier who, you know, praises him and then says he was a valiant soldier, but he had leprosy. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do with this? Then there's a passage from Isaiah that we also didn't choose, but Isaiah 66, that's in part says, be glad for Jerusalem, goes on to say later, you will nurse and be carried on her arm and bounced upon her knees. And I was just very puzzled by the stuff I was reading. What do we do with this? And of course, you just heard Paul talking about whether or not it matters to be circumcised. And it was just, I gotta say, a really challenging pile of readings. And then I started to realize that they all did kind of touch on the same topic, which was the theme of comfort after suffering. That there is that hope together as a community, that in the ups and downs of life, and some of the downs in these readings are really difficult. The Jewish people talking in the psalm about going through fire and water, great difficulties, but they said we have come through together, and they speak of themselves as a family. So it just got me thinking about the many challenges all of us face. I know we all have our own. Christopher's mother is very ill right now, and the family's struggling with that. And yet she's quite seriously ill. This is a terminal illness. She needs support all the time. She can't be left alone. So I mean, she's really not well. And yet she keeps a gratitude journal, and has for many years. But even on the days where she can barely talk now, she needs help to stand up, everything really you can think of, she needs some assistance with. She writes down every day 5 things that she's grateful for. So, I was reading these readings talking about these great difficulties and the comfort that people were finding in each other and finding in their faith. She's very much a woman of faith as well. And I go into the home fairly often, and I see the comfort that she's taken in doing her daily readings and writing in her journal. So, these readings, I'm going to be flitting about here, but these readings really got me into this this frame of mind of thinking about both suffering and the comfort we find. Is it on the? It's probably not on the screen now. What did you end up titling this sermon? I left it to him. I said, here's roughly what I'm going to talk about. Pick a name.
The Joy of Family.
The Joy of Family, thank you. And the idea that when I say family, I know I was just talking about like blood family, but the church as a family and the joy and comfort we find in each other. So I'm just going to point out a few spots where those came up in the readings. Let's see. Well, we sang, I gotta get this right. Joy, it's not Joy Comes in the Morning.
Joy Comes with the Dawn.
Joy Comes with the Dawn. And that was, that hymn comes from Psalm 30, which we also read. Now I gotta go through my numbered pages. Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning. And later in the same psalm, so verse 11, you turned my wailing into dancing, you removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy. I think I've met people who feel that talking about hard times is dwelling, and that we should only be talking about positive things. But I think there's so much to be found in saying we have had difficulties, or we're having difficulties, but if we're having them now, just as we've had them in the past and worked through them together, we'll work through them together now. But there is something, some people call it toxic positivity. It's the idea that you're so positive, you won't let anyone ever say anything negative. So when people need to say, I'm struggling, they need to be heard, the idea is, you'll be fine. The idea of this toxic positivity is kind of brushing it aside. It's, no, you're good. And I think there's value in saying, we suffer and it's painful. And these readings all touch on that. But there's that hope and that joy and what we can find in each other. Okay, let's see. Just to show you the links, because we didn't do all of these readings, but Psalm 66, verse 12. You let people ride over our heads. This is talking about, sorry, I'm going to skip a few of the earlier verses, but this is talking about when the Jewish people were enslaved, and then when they had to contend with people, as they left Egypt, and they had to contend with the people they encountered, and they just felt, when would they ever find a home? When would they ever feel safe? You let people ride over our heads. We went through fire and water, but you brought us to a place of abundance. Again, that we've gone through this, and we've found comfort. Little bit from TV. I have to throw this in because it was just relevant just the other night. My son and I are watching I guess it's going to be a mini series because apparently it hasn't been renewed. I am sad. There's only one season of this show. It's called The Time Traveler's Wife. We've been watching it on Crave. I read the book many times. I tend to reread books because I pick up more each time. And I encouraged my 17-year-old Ian to watch with me because he likes science fiction. It's a science fiction romance kind of thing. And there's so many little lines, like if you're listening for it, just so much wisdom in there. And one of the things that just kind of a throwaway line almost was when someone said, everyone can be happy about the same things, which I guess is not entirely true, but you can have a lot of people happy for beautiful weather, say, right? So everyone can be happy about the same things. To get to know someone, you have to know when they're sad. So, because the things that make us sad tend to be really individual. And I thought that comes back to the idea of being a family as a church, that we're here for weddings and we're here for funerals. And we're sharing, you know, as individuals, because there's that general, everybody likes fine weather, everybody likes little kids, but we're seeing each other as individuals and what are we responding to and what makes us sad and where do we find the comfort together. Oh, let's see. I have quite a lot of atheist friends. I spend a lot of time I've gotten away from Twitter recently. We shall see if that sticks. I haven't been on it actively in weeks, I think. But I originally got active on Twitter just talking about religion. And if you do that, pretty soon you start attracting people who dispute your point of view. Anyway, and I made very good friends with there's a couple who phoned me at home and would chit chat because we're friends. Made some very good friends who were atheists, and they said to me, there have to be activities other than church that people could do. And I said, well, that's interesting. What do you think would be an activity that we could do that isn't church that would offer the same, I guess, benefits that would bring us together for the same reasons? And the best they could come up with was a book club. And I thought to myself, man, like, where do I start? Because we share so much here, right? Like, even if it's something like fundraising for the bake sales, doing things that we have a lot of fun at, we're still coming together to support kids going to camp. Like, it's not a book club, you know? Like, whatever we're doing has something more to it than reading a book together, as much as we prefer. And getting back to the idea that it's more like a family than a club, we heard the reading from Galatians. The very first 3 words of that reading are brothers and sisters, right? That Paul's speaking to family. And he's not saying, I don't know what else you could say, comrades, but he's very clearly, and he says, carry each other's burdens. So the sense is we are together through all things. I'm almost done, I promise. But you know, this got me thinking too about what Stephen said at the picnic in his sermon about, he said, we are not a club. He said, you know, we use this building and think of it as sort of a clubhouse. We're all welcome to use it for various purposes, but we're not a club. It's sort of a home base from which we gather, we come together to kind of strengthen ourselves and refresh ourselves so that we can be who we are in the community, in the broader community, you know. So as much as we're a family, we then bring that outward. And that reminded me of some of the training I took in when I was studying midwifery. Actually, just before I was studying midwifery, I was studying infant development. Some of the training I took in how kids develop. And if you watch a child who's at the walking age, but not really the fluent speaking age, so somewhere around 1.5, say, what they'll do is they'll explore, they'll go out and explore, but not only are they keeping an eye on their parent, whatever parent they're with, they will come back occasionally and just for no particular reason, and just be with that parent for a bit, and then go back out and explore again. It's like they need to just come back and remind themselves, I'm here with this person, I feel safe, and so on. And I think that's very much that idea of family. in the church, right? That we come together and refresh ourselves and then go back out into the world. So in the sense of comfort, whatever we're going through the rest of the week, we're coming together for that time, the same way that those little kids are coming back to just kind of recharge, refresh, get a bit of comfort and go back out. I want to end here with saying that this idea that we do things together in joy, but as a family, as a community, it fits with one of the songs I think we're doing it next, aren't we? Called "I Danced in the Morning." I always thought of that song as Lord of the Dance, I suppose, because it's repeated so many times, and that's I looked it up, and that's what many people call it. But "I Danced in the Morning." That happens to be one of the very favorite songs of Michael Fraser. And when I spoke to Anne at the picnic, and we were talking about the fact that Michael had chosen, this was talked about at the picnic, had chosen medical assistance in dying, I said, how can we recognize him as a member of our family and his contributions? And she said two things. First, she told me a couple of his favorite songs. One is, what's the other one? Help me out. On Eagle Swings? No. You know what, it slipped my mind, isn't that terrible? Because we picked one to go with and the other's flown away. But this one, "I Danced in the Morning," is one of his favorites, and we're going to sing it next. And it's that same idea of Jesus and his people dancing in all times, including, you notice in the song, it talks about the really difficult times. It refers to the crucifixion and all the rest of it, but dancing is in there as a communal activity, as connecting and expressing joy. The other thing she said that I could share about Michael is that he said that the one thing he would want everyone to know is that this church, this community, is his home. Okay, and so again, going back to that being a family, clearly, when you say it's your home, it's not literally his home. But to me, that spoke to me of being a family. So I thought that just really, everything's kind of come together. Isn't it nice when that happens? It's all kind of, anyway, so we are going to sing that song. The last thing I will say is something about that song, just before we sing it. And that is, it was written by Sidney Carter, that song. And Sidney Carter wrote the lyrics. I'm not sure who wrote the tune. But he said he was inspired by the Shakers of the 1770s. If there are any Shakers left, it's less than 3. There were 2 left, but last I heard, but that was years ago, and they were getting quite elderly. There may not be any Shakers left, but at one time there were, well, I don't know if it was thousands, but many hundreds in the United States. And for them, dancing was a spiritual activity. That's not why they're called Shakers. They also sort of had a full body worship reaction, but they made dancing a part of their communal worship. And here's something that Sidney Carter said about that when he was discussing writing the lyrics. He said, congregational dancing expressed, and it also rendered more profound, that unity or cooperation that should characterize God's people. So when we sing about dancing, to him, we're singing about unity and being together. And so this is both a tribute to Michael and tying in with the thought of being a family together. So thank you for joining in this song. We may not be dancing, but thank you for joining in this song as in unity.
While Alex brings up the next song, I'd just like to thank Marianne for such a heartfelt and wonderful tribute to Michael. And certainly brings a lump in my throat as well. After the hymn, which we'll be seeing very shortly, Stephen has sent a special message. I started to watch it and I realized that this might have more impact for me if I saw it for the first time. Unfortunately, it's in a part of the service that we couldn't, a part of the internet that we couldn't download everything from. So this is strange. There's also going to be a brief pause for service, but it's a very lovely message, the part of it that I watched. And so after this psalm, we'll be looking at that.
Morning when the world was begun, and I danced in the moon, in the stars and the sun, and I came from heaven, and I danced on the earth, and with the heavenly had my birth. Dance then wherever you may be, I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all wherever you may be, and I'll lead you all in the dance, said he. Dance for the scribe and the Pharisee, but they would not dance and they would not follow me. I danced for the fishermen, for James and John. They came with me, and the dance went on. Dance then wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all wherever you may be, and I'll lead you all in the dance, said he. I danced on the Sabbath and I cured the lame, told the people sick was a shame. They whipped and they stripped and they hung me high, and left me there on the cross to die. Dance then wherever you may be, I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all wherever you may be, and I'll lead you all in the dance, said he. I danced on a Friday when the sky turned black. It's hard to dance with the devil on your back. They buried my body and they thought I'd gone, but I am the dance and I still go on. Dance then wherever you may be, I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all wherever you may be, and I'll lead you all in the dance, said he. I looked way down and I let down high. I am the life that will never, never die. I'll live in you if you live in me. I am the Lord of the dance, dance then wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all wherever you may be, and I'll lead you all in the dance, said he.
So Alex is going to take a moment to pull up the window that we have the streaming in. As I said, Stephen sent it to me yesterday. Said,
Hello, friends, and welcome.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
glad to have you.
Okay, and let's move her into the main. Come on.
To the right. So yes, he said he'd be canoeing. He mentioned that it was wonderful to have. Well, he's going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to do some of the announcements afterwards. I should mention that for those of you who are worshiping with us for the first time, thank you for coming. For those of you who are joining us on Zoom or on YouTube, welcome. There are daily worship services, but I believe they're somewhat appended or changed during the.
Hello, friends, and welcome. So glad to have you here. Whether you're connecting with us by Zoom or by YouTube or even watching the recording later in the week, I want to thank you for joining us and for making Forest Hill a part of your worshiping experience. As you know, I'm on vacation this week, and I wanted to say thank you to Marianne and Christopher, who've been leading the worship for us today. It's always such
Minimize this part. You're not on the touchpad. Touch the
to be a
touchpad
part
off.
of a congregation where there are so many lay leaders who are willing to share their faith in this way. And I am honored and delighted that they were willing to step up to the plate, especially on a holiday weekend. So thank you. Linda and I are off canoeing this morning in around the Warsaw, and just around the Peterborough area, and thinking about you all as we're paddling through the canyon and enjoying the water. I am with you next week, and so I'll be working all week, back in the office on Tuesday and working throughout the week. Evening worship at 6 o'clock on the weeknight evenings. We're reducing the schedule a little bit over the summer, and it's going to be a little bit variable because as you know, I'm taking some weeks in vacation and some weeks not on vacation, and so I'll let you know week by week what the pattern is going to be for the upcoming week, so that you're not surprised. This week we'll be worshiping at 6 o'clock on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then of course on Sunday. On Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday you can join us on Zoom, and you find the link for that at the church website. And on Sunday mornings, of course, join us in the parlors. The Zoom service will be hosted from there. It'll be live streamed to YouTube, and people can connect from either of those places. It's been a bit of a weird week for me, not exactly as relaxing a vacation as I had expected when I planned this a couple of months ago. Spent a lot of time connecting with both Paul Cutler and Michael Fraser this week. So let me give you an update on each of them, since I know you've been wondering. Paul is still in palliative care in Newmarket Hospital, which surprises me. I didn't expect he would last this long, and indeed he is declining, and that's hard to see. Did have a wonderful conversation with him on Thursday. The visits since then haven't been as good, but you know, he's going in and out, and that's just the way it is right now. But many of you have asked to be remembered to him, and I've had a chance to do that for each of you who've asked. And please know that he remembers each of you fondly and is so grateful for his time at Forest Hill and for all the different things he's been able to do there. Family is planning the funeral for the end of. It's going to be the 29th or the 30th of August. There's family reasons why some of them can't travel to Ontario before then. So those are a Monday, Tuesday evening. We're not sure which night yet, but evening, so that people with day jobs can come. It'll be at the church, and I'll know more about that as the time gets closer. And Michael, I've been connecting with Michael all week, and as many of you know, Michael died Saturday noon. Linda and I and Dorothy Hollingsworth were there, and it was hard, it was sad, it was tough, it was also peaceful and respectful and beautiful and holy time. And Michael, I'm convinced, is finally at peace. And what a rough time he's had over the last, probably 3 years, but really all his life, right? Anyway, the funeral is planned for next Saturday afternoon. That's July 9 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And many thanks to the UCW who are hosting the reception for that after the funeral was over. I'll be in touch with the funeral directions by funeral directions. Listen to me. Funeral details. When I know a little bit more, I'll probably send out an email on Tuesday about that. Wanted to thank each of you who have already sent me a contribution toward the cost of the funeral. Last Sunday at the picnic, a bunch of people came up to me and said, "We know that Anne has no money and we'd like to help with the costs of the funeral." What a gracious gift that is. So I mentioned that, and last Sunday, and several more of you have sent me some contributions. We will, it looks like, be able to pay for the funeral. Although, if you want to send more donations, absolutely. It's important to be able to share this out, and the contributions will be used to pay for the funeral home costs and also for the reception costs. What a lovely gift from this church that was so important to him for 20 years. So thank you. And if you want to make a contribution and you haven't done that yet, you can send a contribution to the UCW. This is considered a church event. You can get a tax receipt for that. The costs for the funeral, they're not tax deductible. It's a Canada Revenue Agency thing. So we're suggesting, if you'd like to contribute to those costs, to send the monies to me directly. You can send me a check or send me an e-transfer or something. And I will be going in probably on Tuesday or Wednesday to pay the bill. And so that's how that's working. And if you'd like to contribute, let me know or send me your contribution. And thank you. And so I'll turn it back to Christopher and Marianne, who will carry on with the other announcements that are here. Blessings to you all, and I'll look forward to seeing you next Saturday at the funeral or next Sunday at worship. Bye for now.
So my thanks to Stephen. There are some announcements up on the screen, so you may, let's just scroll through them. I can't see them from my side, so I'll have to come around to this side. So Stephen mentioned some of the ways that we can connect. Sunday services are at 11 during the summer. That's a bit of a change from previous summers. So we found that out this morning, or we rediscovered it, confirmed that it was this morning. Also, it does say Monday to Friday at 6 p.m. online, but Stephen had already touched upon that in his message. Okay, next. Don't think there will be church school for a short amount of time. We'll have more information on that as it goes along. Thanks to the summer worship volunteers. Earl Hoyt will be doing the July 17th service. Linda Collisar on the 31st. There's a number of other people who will be doing it over the course of the summer. Without reading them all out, but it's been a joy to be able to minister to you today, and I appreciate you having patience with us as we work through some minor issues. As noted, Steve is on vacation from June 27th to July 4th. He is still in Ontario. In case of pastoral emergency, please call his cell. The number noted 416-737-8258. And as has been the case throughout the pandemic, if you're feeling lonely or isolated or bored or just need groceries, need someone to talk to, There's a number there that you can call, 416-783-0879. You can reach out to get in touch with someone, maybe able to spend some time with you and talk through some of the things that you're experiencing, joys and sorrows.
And again, not a book club.
Yeah, not a book club. As has been the case throughout the pandemic, and probably just like a little while before, we're encouraging PAR. We're not taking donations in person. We will be acknowledging the donations that have been made by PAR in other ways during the offertory prayer. But we encourage you to go to the church website at the address located, or contact the church for other ways to donate. They're not taking cash. There are no people to be in the building to be able to count the cash, so donations by check or preferably by online are preferred. I believe those are all our announcements. I may have gotten the slide out of order. Is the offertory prayer there? So one of the things I couldn't figure out is I couldn't find an online recording of the doxology. What did you do last week, Alex?
Oh, gee, I guess.
Or sorry, what did they do last week? I guess you weren't.
Well, last week we had a technical issue that although they could hear us on Zoom, we couldn't amplify it into the actual sanctuary. So everybody just sort of sang it from memory.
I see. Okay. Well, maybe given that we don't necessarily have a large group here, we'll kind of take the doxology as written, as they say, and we'll skip up the offertory prayer. May the words of our mouth and the work of our hands, the meditations of our hearts, be acceptable in your sight. Accept these gifts for the work of your church. Amen. Just to make sure that what I have written down is lined up. Prayer to the people, yes. It's been Rev Stephen's practice at Forestill to join all of our thanksgivings and concerns to a prayer that we create together. In a moment, we'll unmute your microphones and ask you to speak about the things that are close to your hearts. And I'll do my best to bring them all together to a joint prayer. For those of you who may feel more comfortable typing rather than speaking, you can also type into the chat line to add your thoughts. I'm relying heavily on Alex to relay to me things that may need to be said. For people on telephone, you may press *6 to unmute yourself. So in the spirit of coming together of things that we want to pray for, let me ask what you are thankful for today. What brought you to this virtual, or in the case of us here in the parlor, or the actual physical building, church this morning?
Well, it's not what brought me here, but after Stephen's message, I'm thankful for both Paul and Michael. That's matters.
Well, I'm thankful that this jury-rigged technology is basically been supporting us as well as it has been so far.
I'm thankful for some of the freedoms we enjoy in our country. Yesterday was Canada Day. 2 days ago was Canada Day. But there's been a lot of talk about what it means to be free, and what it means to have freedom. And I think this past year has been harder than most to talk about the idea of freedom. And so I think that last week's sermon touched a lot on that, but I think it's important to recognize that it's thought of. Now, things that are of concern for you, the things that weigh heavy upon your heart.
Did you announce that there's a funeral service here on Saturday
I believe they said it was next Saturday at 3. Is that
at 3 o'clock?
Yeah.
For life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any concerns that we need to keep addressing with prayer? Of course, we all want to acknowledge Anne. The difficulty this must be for her.
I guess everyone knows that Paul Cutler is in palliative care now.
Yes. Think of Paul. prayers that was mentioned by Stephen. Service. Anything else that we need to? Okay, let's bow our heads. Creator God, on this beautiful day, the weekend of Canada Day, we're thankful for all the wonderful things, the blessings that we have been given. We're thankful, so thankful for the incredible gifts of time, money, and effort, and sweat, and furrowed brows, and rushing about that Paul and Michael have done for so many years. They were and are a tremendous part of the church. We're thankful so much for what they've given us. We're thankful for the ability to worship in person, but also the ability to worship remotely. Times when we're still touched by the after effects of the pandemic, that we can use technology to connect in ways that we never thought possible 3 years ago. We're thankful for the freedoms that we enjoy in Canada, even as those freedoms are tested by people who think differently from us. That we have to understand that even though they may think differently, that they are still our fellow Canadians, and we must seek always to draw everyone closer into our. The things that weigh heavy on us are, and for the tremendous challenges that she must face, and sorrow that she must feel. We can join together as a community to help support her in this her time of need. And for Paul, who suffers and maintains a wonderful dignity that Paul has always had. And as difficult as it is for all those people who are supporting Paul, it must be very difficult for Stephen as well. So we ask your favor and your guidance. And now, joining our voices and our hearts as one, let us pray as Jesus taught us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Our final hymn is from Voices United, number 595. It's We Are Pilgrims. We are pilgrims on a journey, fellow travelers on the road. We are here to help each other walk the mile and Sister, let me be your servant. Let me be as Christ to you. Pray that I may have grace and to be my servant. I will hold the Christ light for you in the night time of your fear. I will hold my hand out to you, speak the peace you long to hear. I will weep when you are weak, when you laugh, I'll laugh with you. I will share your joy and sorrow till we've seen this journey through. When we sing to God in heaven, we shall find such harmony. Lord, if all we've known together of Christ's love and agony.
be your servant.
Let me be as Christ to you.
If I may have the grace to let you be my servant.
Kind of hit me halfway through that thing. Go out into the world knowing that each of you are called. That each of you are loved. Each of you are blessed. Sent forth as Jesus' disciples, reaching out to every person, bringing joy to every heart. Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.
Go now in peace, never be afraid. God will go with you each hour of every day. Go now in faith, steadfast, strong, and true. No, we will guide you in all you do. Go now in love and show you believe. Reach out to others so all the world can see. God will be there, watching from above. Go now in peace, in faith and in love. Amen. Amen.
So that concludes the formal part of the service. I invite you now to unmute your mics. If you want to speak out to people, greet each other, say your goodbyes. There's a number of us here in the sanctuary who can't hear you if you're speaking to us. And thank you all for coming today.
Hello, everyone. It's good to know you're around, even if I can't see your faces. I hope you all have a good weekend. We'll see each other again. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Have a good week, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Great service, Christopher and Marianne.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a wonderful service.
Yes,
I
hi,
enjoyed it, Christopher and Marianne.
Thank you, Rob.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye, Deborah. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Quick glimpse of the other people here.
I'm gonna keep my distance. distance, everyone. I suddenly got very sick. So I had to run out and throw up. I'm not well. I'm not well at all. So I don't want to get anyone sick. I don't know what just happened. It may have been tea on an empty stomach. That may be all it is. But sorry, I don't want to be rude. I'll just say that.
Well, have a good week.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's come up. I mean, it's been about 2 years.
Hey,
but
John.
we thought we had a few more.
We'll see you next time.
Okay. Thank you, Alex.
Good seeing you again.
Yes, indeed.